Hello guys and welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name's Conor O'Keefe. I'm a professional goalkeeper trying to bring you guys a little bit of insight, education, entertainment and value with these Keeping Goals episodes. And in today's video, I'm going to show you guys some clips from recent live Instagram Q&As that I did with Alberto from ARS Goalkeeping and Omar from ProGK Academy. We talked all things goalkeeping in the live Q&A, but in these clips, you'll hear me ask Alberto for his favourite glove and his favourite cut of glove, and also ask Omar for the top 3 things that he looks for in goalkeepers when recruiting. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please give it a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But let's get into the video. Hello guys, so this afternoon got something quite interesting going on. One of my big plans for this year, and more specifically this summer, was to link up with a lot of other goalkeepers, YouTubers, people to do collaborations with. Obviously a lot of that got scuppered when we were all told we had to stay inside our own houses. I'm still planning on doing loads as soon as we can meet up, but one thing that is presented by this lockdown is the fact that I can do some work with these guys remotely. So one thing I've been trying to do is get in touch with a few other goalkeepers, goalkeeping channels, and do a few live Q&As on Instagram so that we can chat, we can answer your questions, and you guys can see a little bit of the work that we might be able to do in the future together. So this afternoon, I'm going to have a chat with Alberto from ARS Goalkeeping. If you don't follow Alberto, make sure you go and have a look at his channel. Does some incredible content looking at gloves. He's obviously a coach, he's a goalkeeper as well. He's killing it on YouTube, Instagram, and someone who I really enjoy consuming his content, but I enjoy watching what he does, how he does it, and I've always wanted to do something with him. So this afternoon, we're going to jump on an Instagram live, answer your questions in a little bit of a mini Q&A, and see if we can maybe plan a future collaboration when we're all allowed out, where we can actually get together in person and shoot something quite fun. So I'm going to get on Instagram now, start the live and get the Q&A going, and let's hope the technology works and I can speak to Alberto. Alright, I think we're on. Hello guys, if you're watching, welcome to a pretty special Q&A live here on Instagram. Haven't done one of these for a while. Good to see you all. Shoot us a message if you're in here, but we're going to get Alberto on right now, hopefully. Hello, mate.
Hey, Conor, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just dealing with, the quarantine, stuck inside, so just getting along. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to finally, virtually do something with you. I know we've chatted before, briefly, but it's nice to actually properly meet up and do something, even when we're in lockdown. But no,
yeah, it's really cool to actually meet up and do all this Instagram stuff. This is like my second or third one, so I'm still getting used to it.
Well, it's my first one, so you'll have to talk me through it if we
okay.
Take your lead on it. But no, I'm a massive fan, obviously, of everything that you do. I can't tell you, mate, how many messages I get from people saying, can you get Alberto on? Can you do something with Alberto? Can you do something with ARS Goalkeeping? So
that's really nice, man. I mean, and on the flip side, I hear a lot from you. I mean, the stuff that you've been putting out in the last few days has been really, really good for the quarantine training. I know for me, it's super hard. I don't have much space to do it. So I love seeing guys like you, like the last one you did with the weights. I mean, I'm going to end up doing one of those myself.
Well, I mean, I put up on my Instagram story, obviously, that we were having you and for people to send their questions in and things like that. So I've got a list of some ones which should be quite interesting. So I'm going to ask you, and there'll be some that I can answer as well, but it'll be nice to hear your answers on some of them. Obviously, you do a lot of content through your channels talking about goalkeeping gloves, talking about, I mean, you get sent hundreds, I think, throughout a year. But this question is saying, what's your favourite goalkeeper glove? What's your favourite goalkeeper cut of a glove as well? Which I think would be quite interesting to hear.
Yeah, it's I have a lot of thoughts on that, right? So right now I would say the best glove on the mainstream level would be the Puma 1 Hybrid. Just because it hits all of the points. It's a nice fitting glove. It's extremely well padded, and the latex isn't extremely grippy, but it's just the right amount to work in wet situations, dry situations at any moment. So I really liked it. I love the fit of it. My main thing with goalkeeper gloves and what my favorite cut is, it normally comes back to what I started with goalkeeping, right? And if you look at a lot of these pros, they're going to have the brand new gloves, but if you take a closer look, they're going to have a special made version that is their old glove that they started when they're using 16. If you look at Buffon, he's using a flat cut. And there's a reason why. During his time, the flat cut was the big cut, right? I find myself in my games actually falling towards a roll cut. Even though I like the Puma 1 hybrid a lot more, even though I like the fit of the negative cut, when I am not sure what the field is like, when I'm like, okay, I'm versing a 5th division club and I don't want to break my hand, I don't want to do this, I'm going to get my keepers, and that's got a thick roll cut that I have no problem with dealing with it on a hard situation, right? Then it comes down to wet situations. It really then switches out to different levels of what the field is like, what weather, wet weather is like. So short answer, Puma 1 hybrid. Long answer, the glove that I used when I was 16, any cut like that.
It's interesting because, I mean, I'd never heard it put that way, but as soon as you're saying it, it's clicking in my mind because I grew up wearing negatives. That was the cut of glove that I would wear a lot when I was a kid. Well, not so much a kid, but like you say, 16, 17, 18. And I wasn't a massive fan of the roll finger for whatever reason at that point. And since then, that's kind of always what I've gravitated towards, whichever brand I've been kind of prioritizing or liking at the time. And I mean, I wear the Kaliaaer gloves at the moment, and I love the Kaliaaer gloves, and I'm sure you've probably seen a pair.
Great brand.
But the
I have a pair around here. I'm actually finishing up their review.
Nice. Well, I'll be interested to see that because it'd be funny to see which ones you've got. But I'm a big fan of the negative ones, and funnily enough, because the roll finger, I'm not a huge fan of the roll finger for whatever reason. In my head, I kind of just don't like it as much, but I do feel the kind of added surface area it has when you hold it in terms of the security of your handling, and for that reason I have enjoyed the hybrid just because it's got the combination of the two, and it's still in my head it's still quite close to the negative. So I've kind of this season started to move towards a hybrid cut, which I've not had before, but I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, it takes some time. It really takes some time to get out of that groove that we built up, that comfortable area for glove fits.
So it was really good to have Alberto on for the live Q&A. Good to get him on, good to ask him your questions, get some answers from him. But right now, I'm setting up for another live Q&A, this time with Omar from ProGK Academy. If you guys don't know Omar, then I'm not sure what you've been watching, but go and have a look at his YouTube and his Instagram channel. Omar's a coach over in the States, but he puts out some quality content, mainly looking at goalkeeper coaching. So if you're into coaching, if you are a goalkeeper coach, make sure you go and have a look at his stuff. It's good for me to watch and learn from him as a content creator, but more importantly, it's good for me to watch as a player and learn from him as a coach. So I'm really excited to get on the live Q&A with him now, ask him your questions. We've got the setup here with a ring light and a phone balanced on some ball games. So that's what the lockdown live setup is. Very, very fancy. Right, let's get on this and get asking him some of your questions. Hello guys, good to see you all. Nice to have so many of you in straight away.
Conor, what's up, man?
Hello mate, finally. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, you know, just trying to survive a few more weeks until I can be on the field. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm better for seeing you. I'm glad that we can we can finally do something after all this time of chatting and watching each other and stuff. I've always been a big fan of what you've done, and it's been a key idea of mine to do something with you. So although we're in lockdown, it's great to actually get on and do something with you.
For sure. I mean, likewise, man. I've sent you many DMs in the past. I'm a huge fan of what you do. The goalkeeping community is better because of it. And I think just you telling your story, there's a lot of kids out there, like my buddy Matt Sheldon, just you telling your story gives other kids an idea and a perspective of obviously the harshness of the professional game, but also too, if you apply yourself and you really want it and not just say you want it, you can get a lot of things and a lot of things can happen for you. So happy that you're doing that for the community.
No, I really appreciate that, mate. Well, the next question kind of leads on from that in terms of you as a goalkeeper coach. When you're planning a session, are there kind of a few main things that you'll always try and base your session upon in terms of gauging how you're going to work, what you're going to focus on? Are there kind of 3 things that you consider the most when planning a session before it happens?
Normally I'll text the goalkeeper, my process is like a day or two before, I'll text the goalkeeper or goalkeeper is like, hey, what do you guys want to work on? And for the, like, let's say the last ones that I had before the lockdown, I had a goalkeeper who was coming back from a groin injury prior to going into a spring season for college. And he said, hey, I'm not in shape. I need to really work on my fitness, but I also want to work on distribution to see where my groin is. And I also want to work on the goalkeeper side of fitness. So, getting up quick, movement. So I said, okay. So I took that information, I wrote it down. I said, all right, so how can we work on the game like fitness? How can we make it still game realistic where he's making one save, distributing the ball to me, showing at an angle, receiving a back pass, and then playing the outlet pass. So at least we're still going from in possession, out of possession. So I think the way I think about it is I communicate with the goalkeeper, see what they need, see what they want. Then from there, I take what they gave me. How can I make that game realistic? And then from there, based on whatever little extra points they want. So for him was game fitness or goalkeeper fitness. How can I add that element as well? So I added all three of those. And I felt like I had a good session. I sent it to a few coaches. They watched it and they said, hey, can you make this more game realistic? Can you make this more game realistic? So I think the important part for me, Conor, was getting to that point of I help them what they need. And then from there, I send my sessions to people and I leave myself open to criticism. So now I get that information back. And then now I can actually go to the next session and go, okay, maybe in the first progression, I can actually shoot the ball from the ground versus hitting a half volley or a volley. So now they're working off my touch and they're getting little reset positions as you would in a game. So that's how I would do it. Is I as Phil Wooden told me once, it's like find out what the game realistic is and what the final action is, and then work backwards from there. So that's what I do, but I also get the context of what the goalkeepers want.
Well, that puts into practice what you were saying before. It's very easy to say, yeah, I need to be more open to people's perspectives and open to how to improve. But the fact that the first thing out your mouth was that you consult the goalkeepers about what they want to work on, that's automatically taking in that input from an external source in terms of your session. And then to then seek feedback of how you can improve it is, again, that kind of growth mindset of how you're going to develop as an individual. And as a player, it's exactly the same. So when we come into a session, if I say to a goalkeeper, I think, my goalkeeper coach, I want to work on this. And he goes, well, in fairness, from watching your games previously, your training sessions, I think we should do this. It's important for me to recognize that as well and not just vehemently stay on the thing that I want to do. And then once I've done the session, seeking feedback from him, seeking feedback from the manager, even if I am number one and playing every week, that's a good way of demonstrating that the theory of learning from others can actually be implemented into how you set up your sessions and how you conduct the sessions. What are the kind of top 3 things you look for in a goalkeeper as a goalkeeper coach? So be that when you're recruiting new keepers or when you're scouting for clubs or anything like that. Are there 3 main things that you will focus on when you're watching a match or footage?
I would say presence. I think presence is one big thing that I was good at. Early on, I realized that I love to talk and I love to, but I also had like ADD, so like attention I can't even say disorder or whatever, and I couldn't. It's a attention deficit disorder, and I couldn't focus throughout the game. So I said, okay, how could I couple my love to talk and my need to stay focused? How about how I communicate throughout the game? So that was one of my focal points growing up: is how can I communicate, but also make it so that what I'm saying is actually not just going in one ear out the other. It's actually it's quality information. So when I watch these goalkeepers now, it's not about how much you talk and how much you say, but it's about the directions that you give, the quality and the substance that you say in those short words. And to me, that's super important. I don't want to just hear someone babbling off and losing their teammates and like riling up their teammates, which I'm sure at a young age I did. But now when I watch goalkeepers, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And you learn. You take that feedback 100%. From your coach, the parents. My mom was like, I hate the fact that you yell at your players like that. They're running for you and you're yelling them profanities and all that stuff. You need to, shapen up a little bit. So that's one thing that I would say. Is the next one is, I think to me, Conor, the biggest thing is just doing the little things right. So it's the decision making. Like, what are your starting points? Yes, there's where it looks like an easy save. But I like, as a coach, to see what was your footwork like prior to that. What was your starting point when that ball came over the top that you played sweeper keeper on? So it's just all those little things that I like to see. When you catch a cross, do you see it all the way in? When you catch a front dive, do you actually finish the progression by taking it all the way to the ground? Those are little things that'll tell me as a coach what are your habits. And if I'm recruiting you or if I'm scouting you, those are little things that I know when I go to see you when I have you in training sessions, I'm not going to be surprised by it because I saw you do it in a game.
Yeah.
So those two presents, doing the little things right. And the last thing, I think I covered most of it, but I think obviously keeping up with maybe just the modern trends, I feel is really big to me. So can you play with your feet? Is obviously a big one to me. Again, too, is your movements. Are you sound with your technique? Can you do you know when to use a cross step? Do you know when to do the shuffle? Do you know when to sit low? Do you know when to sit high on 1v1s? Do you know how to adjust your position when the ball is cleared? So little things like that I'm really watching for.
So thank you very much to Alberto and to Omar for coming on and doing the Instagram live Q&As. I really enjoyed it. It was great to ask them your questions, to hear their answers, and also to discuss other things all about goalkeeping. I hope you enjoyed these clips. If you missed the original live Q&As, don't worry, we'll be doing plenty more of them over on my Instagram account. So if you're not following, make sure you go and do that now. I look forward to meeting up with Alberto and with Omar very, very soon and doing things together in person for the channel. But discussing goalkeeping with other members of the GK community is something that I'm really interested in and something I'm going to be doing much more often. And one place that I'm going to be doing that is on the Keeping Goals podcast. The Keeping Goals podcast is now live on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So go and search the Keeping Goals podcast or Conor O'Keefe and subscribe to the podcast. We've had brilliant feedback so far from episode 1. I'm glad so many of you have enjoyed it. Episode 2 is going to be really, really good as well. So I'm very excited to bring that out very, very soon. So if you haven't subscribed to it yet, go and subscribe to the Keeping Goals podcast. Leave us a nice review, leave us a 5-star rating, and if you leave a written review as well and leave your Instagram handle in there, I'll come and personally say thank you for taking the time to listen to it. This week's patron of the week is Amy Page. Amy, thank you so much for everything that you do to support me as a patron. As a thank you, here is your Keeping Goals shout out. If you guys want to be in with a chance of winning Patron of the Week like Amy and also benefiting from loads of other benefits received by patrons like Skype calls, glove giveaways, boot giveaways, and even getting access to the Keeping Goals podcast before anybody else, make sure you sign up using the link below this video. But thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already. There's going to be no episode of Keeping Goals on Wednesday, so I'll see you again on Sunday for the next episode of Keeping Goals. But thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, look after yourselves, keep chasing improvement as always, and I'll speak to you in a bit.